A broken alien king's only chance to save his dying empire lies in the hands of a stubborn human mechanic. Can an ordinary man fix what no one in the galaxy could, before it's too late? In the dead of night, on the outskirts of a lonely spaceport on Mars, Liam Grayson, a seasoned human mechanic, toiled away in his tiny workshop. A cigarette hung loosely from his lips as sparks flew from the engine he was working on. Grease covered his hands, the metal sang beneath his tools, and in this quiet corner of the galaxy, Liam thought he had everything figured out, until fate dropped the impossible at his doorstep. Just as he began tightening the last bolt on an old hovercraft engine, the ground beneath the workshop trembled violently. Tools clattered from the shelves, and an eerie hum filled the air, cutting through the silence like a knife. Liam's heart pounded. With shaking hands, he yanked off his welding mask and ran outside. What he saw next changed everything. Above his modest workshop, a massive alien spacecraft hovered, its hull scorched and cracked, as though it had barely survived a battle. The ship's design was like nothing Liam had ever seen. Its surface shimmered with strange glyphs that shifted in shape and color, almost as if they were alive. But what really sent a chill down his spine was the roar of an emergency crash landing sequence activating. Before he could react, the ship came crashing down on the rocky plains beyond the workshop with a deafening boom. Dust and debris erupted into the air, swallowing the stars above. For a moment, everything went still. Then, with adrenaline surging through him, Liam sprinted toward the wreckage. His heart raced as he navigated the shattered metal and sparking circuits. Whatever was in that ship, it was nothing Earth had ever seen before. And yet, something deep inside him told him that he needed to help. Suddenly, a metallic hatch burst open with a hiss. From the smoke and glowing embers, a figure emerged. A towering being with midnight blue skin, eyes burning with gold, and a regal presence that commanded the air around him. He wore an elaborate robe that looked tattered and burned at the edges, yet it was clear he was no ordinary traveler. This was a king. Human. The alien's voice boomed, deep and commanding. His gaze was intense, though it flickered with exhaustion. "You will help me, or everything you know will be reduced to ashes." Liam stood frozen, overwhelmed by the sheer presence of the being before him. This alien king radiated power, pride, and yet, beneath all that, Liam caught a glimpse of something unexpected: desperation. "Who the hell are you?" Liam finally stammered, wiping his greasy hands on his overalls. "I am Kaelen, sovereign of Zalera, the last hope of my people," the alien king declared, swaying slightly as if the words were too heavy to bear. "And my ship, the heart of my empire, is dying." Liam squinted, struggling to make sense of the situation. This was crazy. He was a mechanic, not a hero. He repaired engines, not intergalactic battleships. But before he could object, Kaelen took a step forward, towering over him like a storm cloud. "My people are scattered across the stars," Kaelen said, his golden eyes gleaming with an urgency that made Liam's stomach twist. "Without this ship's core, my enemies will destroy what remains of my kingdom. I have traveled light years to find help, and you are my only option." Liam's brain screamed at him to walk away. This was beyond his expertise. But something about the raw need in Kaelen's voice struck a chord deep inside him. This king, despite his arrogance and grandeur, was broken. And if Liam didn't help, it wasn't just Kaelen who would suffer. It sounded like entire civilizations were at stake. "What exactly do you need?" Liam asked cautiously, crossing his arms over his chest. Kaelen gestured toward the wreckage of his ship, the Finitum core. "It is the heart of my vessel, a piece of technology so advanced that even my best engineers could not repair it." He clenched his jaw, frustration flickering across his regal features. "But I've read about humans, about your ingenuity. You have a gift for fixing the unfixable." Liam couldn't help but smirk. "So you're saying your big, fancy alien empire is counting on a grease monkey like me?" Kaelen's eyes narrowed, clearly unamused. "This is no joke, human. If we fail, millions will die, and you will not be spared." Despite every instinct telling him to stay away from this mess, Liam found himself walking toward the wreckage with Kaelen by his side. The ship's core lay deep within the ruined vessel, a giant sphere of swirling energy encased in layers of broken alien metal. It pulsed erratically, sending ripples of unstable energy through the air. "This thing looks like it could blow at any second," Liam muttered, inspecting the damage. "You really expect me to fix this?" "You must," Kaelen said firmly, though his voice softened just a fraction. "You're my last hope." Liam exhaled sharply. This was insane. But if there was one thing he knew, it was how to improvise under pressure. He rolled up his sleeves, grabbed his toolkit, and muttered, "All right, let's see what we're dealing with." For hours, Liam worked tirelessly, cutting wires, patching circuits, and jerry-rigging solutions that no alien engineer would have dared attempt. Kaelen stood nearby, watching silently, a mixture of awe and disbelief on his face. This human, with his dirty hands and strange humor, was doing the impossible. At one point, Liam glanced up and noticed the alien king staring at him intently. "What? Never seen a miracle worker before?" Kaelen's lips twitched into something that could almost be called a smile. "You're kind. You are more than I expected." Liam chuckled dryly. "Yeah, well, you'd be surprised what humans can do when we're cornered." Just as things seemed to be under control, the ship's alarms blared to life. Liam froze, his heart hammering. "What now?" he asked, glancing nervously at Kaelen. Before the alien king could respond, a squad of enemy soldiers materialized from the shadows, mercenaries from a rival alien faction, their weapons gleaming in the dim light. They must have tracked Kaelen's ship and waited for the perfect moment to strike. Liam's pulse skyrocketed. He wasn't a fighter. He was a mechanic, but Kaelen stepped in front of him, raising his hand. Energy crackled around him like a living storm, and with a single wave, he sent the mercenaries flying backward. "Stay behind me, human," Kaelen growled, his golden eyes blazing. "I will not let them interfere." Liam watched in stunned silence as the alien king fought off the attackers with a ferocity that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. Despite his injuries, Kaelen moved like a force of nature, a king fighting to save what little remained of his empire. When the dust finally settled, the mercenaries lay defeated, and Kaelen stood panting but victorious. Liam let out a shaky breath. "Well, that was fun," he muttered sarcastically. "You always bring this kind of trouble with you?" Kaelen shot him a sidelong glance. "You have no idea." As the two of them returned to the core, Liam felt a strange sense of determination settle over him. He wasn't just fixing a ship anymore, he was part of something bigger. For the first time in a long while, he felt alive. "This isn't just about your empire, is it?" Liam asked quietly as he adjusted a broken circuit. "It's personal." Kaelen hesitated, then nodded. "If we succeed, I might be able to rebuild everything I lost." Liam gave him a small, determined smile. "Then let's make sure we don't screw it up." And with that, the human mechanic and the alien king returned to their work, two unlikely allies bound by desperation, trust, and the faint hope of achieving the impossible. The clock was ticking, but Liam had never felt more ready. The finitum core pulsed dangerously, each unstable wave of energy threatening to consume the entire ship and everything nearby. The hum grew louder, almost as if the machine knew it was on the verge of collapsing. Liam's hands shook, but there was no time to hesitate. If he failed, Kaelen's empire, his people, and possibly even Mars itself would be reduced to cosmic dust. "I need more time," Liam growled, tightening a strange alien bolt with every ounce of strength he had. His muscles burned, and beads of sweat rolled down his forehead, mixing with the grime smeared across his face. The core was unlike anything he had ever worked on, alive, volatile, and dangerously unpredictable. Kaelen stood nearby, clutching his wounded side, his gaze unwavering despite his exhaustion. His golden eyes flickered with both hope and despair, as though he knew this human was his last chance, his last hope. "We don't have time," Kaelen muttered, voice tight with urgency. "The core reaches critical mass in minutes. If it detonates, we're done." "I know," Liam shot back, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. But he wasn't ready to quit. Not yet. Not when everything was riding on this one impossible task. With renewed focus, Liam dove back into the heart of the core, cutting and rerouting wires that no human should have dared to touch. His improvised solutions defied every law of logic and alien engineering, but that was the beauty of it. Liam didn't need to know how the technology was supposed to work. He only needed to make it work. As Liam worked feverishly, Kaelen spoke softly, his voice uncharacteristically vulnerable. You know, I doubted you. When I first saw you, I thought, how could a human mechanic save us? But now, he paused, the weight of his words hanging in the air. Now I see that your people possess something more powerful than all the technology in the galaxy. Determination. Liam glanced up briefly, taken aback by the alien king's rare moment of humility. Well, he muttered with a grin, we might not have fancy spaceships, but we're damn good at not giving up. Kaelen gave him a tired but genuine smile. I see that now. But the moment of camaraderie was cut short. Suddenly, the core emitted a violent shockwave, sending both men stumbling backward. The entire ship groaned and trembled, metal grinding against metal. Sparks flew from ruptured circuits, and the lights flickered ominously. Liam! Kaelen shouted, panic creeping into his voice. We're out of time. Liam scrambled to his feet, ignoring the searing pain in his shoulder where he had landed hard. This was it. The final moment. The core was slipping out of control. He could feel it in the chaotic rhythms of the energy waves. There was only one shot left. One last desperate move. All right, you oversized light bulb, Liam muttered under his breath, wiping the sweat from his brow. Let's see if duct tape and human stupidity can save the universe. Liam reached deep into his toolkit and pulled out an ancient Earth relic, a roll of duct tape. Kaelen stared at him in disbelief. That is your grand solution? The alien king asked incredulously. Look, where I come from, duct tape fixes everything. Liam grinned, ripping off a strip and slapping it across a cracked panel in the core's casing. It was a ridiculous solution. It shouldn't have worked. But somehow it did. The core shuddered and then, miraculously, the chaotic pulses began to stabilize. The swirling energy slowed, the hum faded to a low thrum, and the blinding flashes of light dimmed to a soft, steady glow. Against all odds, the core was repairing itself. Liam let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. Holy hell, it's working. Kaelen stared at him, stunned into silence. I don't believe it. You did it. You actually did it. Liam collapsed onto the floor, exhaustion hitting him like a freight train. I told you, he panted. Never underestimate duct tape. The ship's systems rebooted, and the once cracked hull began to repair itself, as if the core's energy was breathing new life into the vessel. Kaelen extended a hand, helping Liam to his feet. You've done more than just repair a ship, Liam, the alien king said solemnly. You've given my people a future. I owe you a debt I can never repay. Liam shrugged, brushing off the compliment. Just another day in the life of a mechanic, I guess. Kaelen shook his head, a rare smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. No, Liam, what you've done, it will be remembered for generations across the stars. Liam felt a strange warmth in his chest. For the first time in his life, he wasn't just a mechanic fixing broken things. He was part of something bigger. And that feeling was worth more than any reward Kaelen could offer. As the ship's engines roared back to life, Kaelen turned to him. Come with me, Liam. There's a place for you among the stars. Your talents, your heart, would make you a legend in my world. For a moment, Liam was tempted. The idea of traveling the galaxy, of becoming part of something grand and heroic, was more appealing than he wanted to admit. But deep down, he knew where he belonged. Nah, Liam said with a grin. I think I'll stick to what I know. Fixing things on this dusty little rock. Besides, someone's got to keep these hovercrafts running. Kaelen gave him a nod of respect. Then this is farewell, human. But know this, you will always be remembered as the man who fixed the unthinkable. With that, the alien king turned and boarded his ship. The ramp closed, and the massive vessel began to rise, its engines glowing with renewed life. Liam watched as it soared into the night sky, a trail of light following it into the endless expanse of space. As the ship disappeared into the stars, Liam stood alone on the rocky plains, the cool Martian wind brushing against his skin. He felt different somehow, changed. He had been given a glimpse of something extraordinary, and though his life would return to its quiet routines, he would never be the same. The next morning, Liam returned to his workshop. The tools, the grease, the half-finished engines, it was all still there, just as it had been before. But now, every bolt he tightened, every engine he repaired, felt like part of something greater. Because Liam knew, no matter how small the task, even the smallest act of fixing something could change the course of the universe. And so, with a quiet smile on his face, Liam picked up his wrench and got back to work. Because sometimes saving the galaxy isn't about being a hero. Sometimes it's just about being the guy who knows how to fix things when no one else can. Far across the galaxy, in a distant world rebuilt from the ashes of war, songs were sung and stories were told of the human mechanic who saved an alien king. His tale became a legend, a reminder that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in power or technology, but in the simple determination to fix what's broken. And though Liam Grayson would never know it, his name would echo across the stars for generations to come, a testament to the extraordinary power of ordinary people.